Hello everyone, welcome to my syllabus discussion. Actually, it's more of a syllabus talk. I'm going to talk to you about the rules that will be held throughout the class. So we are taking the Art P101 Art Studio Fundamentals course 51421. And now, usually I have a PowerPoint for my syllabi, but for this semester, I'm just going to give it to you straight from the document file. So I hope that it is just as informative. And so here are my class dates, also the time. Uh, I like to put my class times and instructor office availability due to the fact that I'm actually teaching 3 summer classes this semester and that they are at different campuses, and so I need to divide my time between my students. But I'll do my best to get back to you, especially if you guys have any questions. And so my email is on here. If you are if you have the file around to look at while I describe this, it's probably a little bit better than trying to read the video the video image. And so let's just go ahead and get right into some of these more important parts. Here are our student learning outcomes. So these are the list of objectives that we are going to achieve throughout the semester. So when you signed up for this class, you probably have already read a lot of this. And so I'm not going to go into depth in talking about each one, because we are going to go through this as you guys go through the different modules. So when it comes to my summer class, I base everything off of modules. So I hope that it is a way to organize how you are studying for your chapters and your exams. And so some important information here. The required text is the Preble's Art Forms 11th edition. If you try to look this up, you'll probably see that there is a 12th edition that's available. I'm not using that 12th edition because that just came out recently, and I'm basically using the same textbook that I used at the beginning of the year, or um, since the beginning of last fall. So we don't really switch textbooks in the middle of a whole school year, meaning from the fall to the summer. So I might switch to the 12th edition, but what's cool about this is that the 11th edition, they're cheaper now. So um, try to get the textbook. If you don't have the physical book, I would recommend getting the digital version. And I posted here that you can get it from the publisher, but for some reason I tried doing it myself and it was actually really complicated, so I actually added another link underneath. It's another site, but it's basically the same exact book that I'm using in this class. So I recommend getting that, simply due to the fact that all of the exams are based off of the book. So you want to get to know it, get to those get into some reading, get to know some of the material. So let's see, some of the required materials. I'm hoping that students already have these things here. So I recommend a laptop or a desktop for the classwork. If you have stable internet, if you have stable Wi-Fi, that's really good. Um, if you are taking an online class, I'm guessing that you probably have all of these things already. And if you do not, you can probably ask the school if they can hook you up. They can probably give you a computer. They can probably even give you a discount on Wi-Fi and all of these things. So, ask the school admin. I don't know all of the information on that, but that's just what I've been seeing through the announcements. Let students know that they have these resources available for them. So take advantage of it. Uh, Even me, I actually borrowed a laptop from one of my other schools, and so it's useful, especially because we're doing all of these things online. I think I'm using like 3 computers at home now. So, do what you can. If you have a Chrome web browser, that probably works best. I think Firefox is the second best. So you're really limited if you use things like Internet Explorer or even Safari, I've noticed. So I would recommend getting the latest versions of Chrome or Firefox to do everything on Canvas, because everything that we do for this class is basically on Canvas. And so for some of the students that use a tablet or even their phone, they can do a lot of stuff on there, but it's really limited. I I almost can tell you that to use the Canvas app that you can download, it's you can't really, I don't think you can submit all types of works there. It's I had troubles from students' experience in the past. So if you use your phone or an iPad or something, it's really limited, especially if you try to use the app. I only use those things for messaging. I only use them for messaging my students. But if I want to, you know, look at my assignments, I can still grade things on there. But in terms of submitting things and changing files, it'll almost it's way more complicated. So I recommend doing everything on the computer. Do what you can. So some studio art materials that we'll be using for this class: a sketchbook. If you have a mixed media one, that works best. You'll want the paper to be relatively thick. If you have a sketchbook already at home and if it has really thin paper, I wouldn't recommend it, because we're gonna use different color media, and we're gonna do things like collages, and the thin paper isn't really that good for that. So if you can, uh, order a sketchbook, or even go to the store. If you're allowed to go to the store, get a sketchbook. If you can find one that has perforated edges where you can take paper out, that's probably the best. And you don't want a small sketchbook. You don't want a tiny sketchbook like 4 by 6. You want 9 times 11 plus. Um, you can do a lot of work on that. So you'll need drawing pencils. Just get a couple. I'm not gonna be really that picky when it comes to these kinds of things. You'll be basically doing sketches. So you'll also be using colored construction paper. If you have some old print at home, that's really good. Things like magazines, newspapers, photographs. One of the things that I'm going to ask you to do is to buy at least one type of color media, which is something like colored pencil. Oil pastel is really good. Oil pastel is like, it's basically wax crayon, except that it is more for serious artists. So oil pastel is really good for color. And something else that you'll probably be using is a digital camera. So if you have a phone that has a decent camera, that is fine. Um, you want to take good quality pictures, especially of your artwork when you turn those things in. So experiment beforehand. I'm asking students to convert their images to JPEG files. So if you don't know how to do that, I have links on Canvas on how to convert your default image to a JPEG. Because I know that for iOS, for iPhones, it's a HEIC, and for Android, I believe it's IMG. But whenever students turn in files that are those format, they can't always see them when they submit them on Canvas. So you have to convert them to JPEG. If you have trouble with that, let me know. I can always try to help you out with that. So class activities that we'll be doing in this class include lectures, slide presentations, videos, discussion boards. You'll have a little bit of homework. I think if anything, the project and the homework is the same thing. written assignments, that is under the discussion boards as well, and exams. So what else? The grading scheme is relatively simple. A, B, C, D, F. I don't know if I really had to explain that, but you know, I break down my grading into different categories. So 10% of your grade is based off of a gallery report, and there are two that are required through the whole semester. So actually, one is due during the midterm, so, midway through the semester, and one more at the final. So I'll give you guys a little bit more information on that eventually. 10% of your grade is based off of attendance and participation. Um, so how do I document attendance? It's not like I can see you in class and uh, mark you present or anything. Instead, I keep track of who is being active on Canvas. So if you are submitting work, I will mark you present for that day. Or if you leave a reply on the discussion board, or if you add an entry, you'll be marked present. And so students will be given opportunities throughout the week to be able to do that. Usually 2 or 3. So try to be on top of that. If you miss an assignment, that's when you'll probably be marked absent. So you want to be on top of that. 10% of the grade is based off of your critique discussion. So the discussion boards are graded, and that 10% of your whole grade is based off of how you react to the discussion boards, how much depth and how much effort is being put into your writing. So you want to do your best. 40% of your grade is based off of the exams. If you have good attendance, which is 90% and above, then I'll drop your lowest exam score. So be active, log in every day. I tell students to log in every day. 30% of your grade will be based off of studio projects, and we only have a few. I think we only have 3. I'm gonna say 3. so look forward to that. If we had a regular semester, I usually assign around 5 or 6, but for the summer class, just a few. I would rather have you focus more on the academic part. Get to know the content from the textbook. So students are expected to keep track of his or her grade on Canvas. If you are a student with a disability, please let me know. If you happen to be one of these students, you probably have some sort of documentation from the admin telling me that this is a list of accommodations that you'll be needing throughout the semester. So if you are a student with a disability, please let me know and get that document into me as soon as possible. And let's keep going here. Canvas, of course, everything that we're doing in this class will be through Canvas. I think the only program that I'm going to ask you guys to use outside of Canvas is Remind, because I'm using that as a way to gather all of my messages, because I'm working at different schools and I have 5 email addresses. And so it's really hard for me to get through all of them, especially if I have to try to organize what messages are going where. But I feel like through Remind, in the future I might change that, but for now I'm going to try it out. I think that it looks pretty useful. So Remind is really good to keep all of the messages organized. I'll do things like announcements on there, and it's a good way to connect to me if you want to try to get a hold of me faster. If students email me or message me through the inbox, it might take a little bit longer, just due to the fact that I have 4 classes this semester, and that every class, I feel like all of my classes are full. And so about 40 students per class, and so I'm trying to dedicate time throughout the day for each class. And so if you use Google Docs, we don't use that. We don't use that in our class. So You know, if you've used Google Class or Google Docs in a previous school, um, yeah, we're not using that. So sorry to say, just adjust, because most of the schools in college are using Canvas. Anyhow, for assignments, they're usually due at the beginning of class on a particular due date. If assignments are not submitted, there's an automatic 20% deduction. And so usually I give students up to a week to submit something even though it's late, but I think that for the summertime I might make that less. So something about my syllabus, I can make adjustments when needed. So you don't really want to submit works late. 20% is a lot. So get those in the before the deadline. So when it comes to the written assignments, okay, yes, everything will be typed out because we're using Turnitin for the most part. In my regular face-to-face class, students would turn in their actual essays, and I like to read the print, but for this class, everything will be submitted on Canvas. And so, let's see. All submitted files should be in either JPEG document file or PDF. When it comes to things like your gallery report, you are only to submit that through Canvas, through the Turnitin app. So be wary of that. So let's see. So examinations, I usually give them at a particular time, and that what's going to happen during the summer is I give students a window of time to take the exam. So this class I dedicated my early afternoons. So from 1 until 4 o'clock, I believe, or 1 till 3:30, students are allowed to take their exam. So if you don't make it during that time, then it'll be marked absent. So you don't want to miss those deadlines. Only 2 makeup exams are allowed per semester. Um, Makeup exams are given with an automatic 20% deduction. And so all of the test dates, they are all listed on Canvas. They're on Fridays. The idea that I have in terms of the flow of our class is basically, study during the week, take the exam at the end of the week, but you during the weekend you can work on your studio projects. So uh, that's the way I arranged it. And so gallery reports, students are to submit 2 of them throughout the semester. I mentioned some of this information already. You're going to write 3 to 4 paragraphs about some work that you're actually going to find online. So what I did in the past was I had students go to actual galleries, a museum. Sometimes the school is really lucky enough to let us go on field trips, but we can't do that right now. We are still somewhat on a lockdown. Anyhow, so I'm letting students do their gallery reports on virtual online exhibitions. So I actually posted a link there where students can see a list of museums that offer virtual tours. So students are going to do that and do writings based off of that. So when it comes to your gallery report, you're going to submit it through Turnitin, which is a external site that checks for plagiarism. So I'm hoping that if you are taking this class that you probably already know what that's about. You don't want to copy and paste your work. It's very easy to to try to turn in work, especially if it's if it's right on the deadline. There's a really big problem of students plagiarizing their writing, so that is not accepted. Anyhow, emailed work is not accepted as well. It has to go through Canvas. It has to go through Turnitin. Okay. And so online class attendance and participation, I mentioned this already. Let's see. Okay, so I take attendance by the assignments, projects, the web critiques, peer reviews, and the exams, and also discussion boards. If you leave a reply to one of your classmates, I expect the reply to be meaningful. I don't, I don't consider, good job or I agree as enough. So you want to, you want to reply with intention to give positive feedback so that we're trying to keep uh, the ongoing conversation of art in mind, and we're trying to use the uh, the terminology as much as possible. Students are only allowed 3 absences per semester. So I have a list of excused absences here. So if you happen to miss work, if you happen to miss a deadline and if you experience any of these things, then I do consider them excused absences. So if there's a funeral that you have to attend, if you are sick and you are unable to, do work, I consider that excused. If you have a religious holiday to observe, that is excused. Also, if you are doing a school activity, if you are part of a team and that you have an event to do that is related to that those are excused. If you have jury duty or military duty, those are excused. Psychosocial or mental disability, I excuse that. So when it comes to these excused absences, what underlines all of these things is that I have, or that you have, an authorized documentation of whatever that absence may be. And that it has to be, from a doctor, it has to be, if it's a funeral, maybe you have one of those invitations or, something like that. Or if you are in a school team, then I'm going to expect a letter from your coach and so on. If you are trying to, if you give me an excused absence and it's from your mom, I'm not going to accept that. So, yeah, do the best that you can to be on top of everything. And so the examples of unexcused absences would be work, which means that if you have work instead of being able to work on your classwork, then basically to me that means that you're not really putting school as an obligation and that the effort doesn't feel like it is there. So everyone has to work, but at the same time, you want to put school a priority. I actually expect that. So do what you can to work around work. Tell if they understand how important your education is, they'll give you that time off or whatever. If you need a day off because of babysitting, I feel that is unexcused as well. If you are taking a class and you are serious about it, then you have to have all of these things already planned out. You want to have a sitter, you want to have, your parents come and help out and all of that stuff. So you have to have all of that stuff before the semester starts. And so if you are going on a family vacation, I have a lot of students that, they go out of the country, they go out or country for like a week or two. That's not really gonna fly for the summer class because the class is so condensed. Every class that you attend is basically half of a week, or even 1 week sometimes. And so, yeah, family vacations. I think that if you take a vacation, you can probably still you can still do all of the online stuff. So so that should be okay. And so lack of transportation doesn't pertain, and so does concerts because there's no concerts. I don't think we're allowed to have a gathering of more than 10 people or so, right? And so anyhow, my online communication policy, I have my email address here. I think I accidentally posted my other email. So if you see it, And if it doesn't say Porterville College on it, then it's probably my other email address. I mean, if you email me, I'll get it regardless, but this is the correct one for this school. So again, I'm trying to organize my messages. I think I'm going to try remind it. I think later on I might switch that out. So um, please allow up to 24 hours for a response. Usually, okay, let me see. I can change this right now. So from 1 p.m. until 3:30, I'll be dedicating this time for your class because I don't want to have all of my classes message me at once. I'm at home too. I have a family and stuff, and I had to. They know that I have work during this time, so uh, you know, do what you can. I do what I can, and so on. So here is the Remind app that I was talking about. Um, this is all on Canvas again. You want to download it, and there's the little code right there. That should be for our class, our summer class. And so when it comes to this Remind app, I use it for, again, an announcements. If you want to try to get a hold of me faster, it's almost like chatting with me in real time. I try to respond as fast as I can. I have the window usually up when I'm on my computer. And so, of course, I have the school email and also my Canvas inbox. But I try to prioritize Remind first and then email and then my inbox, just because those things take longer. It takes longer for me to log into. Apparently, all the schools that I teach at, they use the same kind of email servers, and it doesn't know when I'm trying to switch schools or not. So it gets really confusing sometimes. But you know, um, it's fine. Anyhow, here are my expectations. I usually tell students this in my face-to-face classes. This is what I in a way teach about, and what I'm hoping we can be at the same level when it comes to these ideas. So respect towards your classmates and instructor is expected and essential for keeping a positive and friendly environment throughout the course. It is important that you demonstrate a willingness to learn and consider ideas and concepts that might be unfamiliar to you. Expression of genuine enthusiasm and curiosity is the most direct path to an excellent grade. Learning and the acquisition of knowledge and skills are an important part of personal development, which is the ultimate goal of our time here. Thank you. Thank you so much for listening. So, anyhow, the student conduct statement, when you guys sign up for this class, you probably know that already. I'm guessing, or if I can remember off the top of my head, it's things like, don't steal, don't fight, all of that, all of those things. And so there is the course outline. I'm not going to talk about that in this syllabus video, but we can take a look at it. Ooh, prehistoric, Paleolithic. Ooh, so a lot of different cultural things actually. And so I think this is a really fun class. It's very informative. I took art history when I was going to City College, and I had a choice. I can take either this fundamentals class or art appreciation, or I can take the art history. I just went art history because I ended up majoring in it later. And so anyhow, let me know if you guys have any questions when it comes to the syllabus. Make sure that that you read through this on your own. And again, get a hold of me if you have any questions. And thanks for listening, and take care.